I might as well just be truthful about it. It was just so painful. I couldn't. It catches me off guard every single time. I'm just being raw and real with you guys. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name is Faith. Thank you so much for being here. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a real life update on being pregnant with having a toddler. I'm going to get into how I've been doing with my emotions, just emotionally, my physical symptoms, and also talk to you about some updates with the baby and show you some sonogram pictures from our anatomy scan. I haven't been as good at posting as frequently, and that's just because this has been really hard. And so the purpose of this video is just to share with you an update on how I've been. For any of you who are also pregnant, just being pregnant in general is difficult, but being pregnant when you already have kids is, I feel like, even harder. So if that is you, hopefully this video gives you some sense of normalcy, like you're not crazy. This actually is pretty difficult. So if you are new here, I'd love it if you would consider subscribing before you leave. That really helps my channel. And give this video a thumbs up and comment down below anything else you'd like to see from me. But let's hop right on in. As always, I have notes because even when I'm not pregnant, I would forget things. And now it's just like, my brain's out the window. So I want to make sure I stay on track and don't forget anything and make this as easy to follow as possible. So I want to start with emotions, and we'll get into my physical symptoms, and then we'll talk about baby. I'm currently 25 weeks pregnant, just to give you a little bit of an idea of where I'm at. And one of the biggest things that I really started to struggle with in the second trimester, once I started feeling a little bit better, like less nauseous from the first trimester, and just had more time to think, was fears I had about summer and like how the transition is going to be from just her to now having a baby to take care of as well. We are just in this really like blissful, easy stage. I mean, it's not easy, but like she's not a baby anymore, so you can really like interact with her. It's really fun. Our bond has grown so much. And there was one night where I was just bawling my eyes out to my husband, worried that that bond was going to drastically change once the baby comes. And I think kind of how we talked through it and how I feel about it now is, I think our bond is going to stay strong. It definitely is going to change, I guess, how much one-on-one time I have with her, but I'm going to make it a priority as much as I can to still do that. And I actually do want to link a video down below. I can't remember the girl's name, but I watched a video about transitioning from 1 to 2 kids. Krista, maybe, I don't know, but I'll link the YouTube video down below. Go watch that after this video if you're also worried about that transition. She has some really, really good tips for how to make your toddler or child still feel very included and loved throughout that transition process. And it gave me a lot of good ideas that made me feel a lot better about navigating that transition and making sure that my bond with Summer is maintained. And I'm sorry, if you are new here, I have one daughter, Summer. She's 2.5 years old, so I should have mentioned that. Other things that emotionally have been kind of difficult is, again, now that I have more time to like think, since I'm not so nauseous, and like that was all that was on my mind in the first trimester, some unpleasant memories of giving birth and also recovery have been like popping up in my mind and making me nervous. I actually had a fairly easy and definitely standard delivery. I did it all natural. I have a video on that from 2 years ago when I had Summer. So it wasn't like a scary or traumatic birth experience at all, but let's be honest, giving birth is not like something you just want to do. So I've been kind of thinking back to that time and just remembering the pain and remembering how difficult my recovery was. I had and still have some pelvic floor issues. So hopefully this time around I can work on those sooner than I did with Summer. But yeah, just kind of remembering all of that has not been emotionally easy. You really just can't focus on it because there's no point in worrying about it. It's going to happen, and what you get out of it is so worth it. That's one thing this time around I feel like is easier for me to picture and realize, because when you're a first-time mom, you don't really understand how your bond with your baby is going to grow. For me, I was not one of those moms that like the instant my baby was born, I just had this overwhelming connection and love for her. I, of course, loved her and I chose to love her, but it was a very difficult newborn experience and there wasn't that like real connection and bond. Now there is, and so now I know that even if those first few months are really difficult, the bond I'm going to create with that child is something so amazing. So I at least have that in the back of my mind and know that all of this will be worth it. The last thing emotionally that's been definitely bothering me way more this time around is my weight gain. And I gained quite a bit of weight with Summer. I think I gained 35, maybe even 40 pounds throughout the course of my pregnancy. I am a very tall person, so it kind of dispersed fairly evenly, and most people probably wouldn't have guessed that I gained that much, but I did. And I might as well just be truthful about it, even though it's kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say embarrassing because it's like, look, I'm growing a human, like, what do you want me to do? But I have already gained close to that much. Like, I'm at the weight now that I was at like 38, 39 weeks pregnant with Summer. And I still have 10, 15 weeks to go. So that definitely is like an emotional thing for me, and it just like a worry in the back of my mind, even though I know I shouldn't be worried about it. It's just kind of weird because when I was pregnant with Summer, I worked like a desk job 40 hours a week. So I was very sedentary. And I just assumed that this time around, being home, running after her, we take walks, I'm way more active. I thought I wasn't even going to gain as much weight as I did last time, and now I'm realizing I'm going to gain much more than I did. And I'm not eating any differently. I'm eating basically the same that I did with her. So I don't know, it could be just that my body, I know like your second time around, your body kind of already knows what it's doing. Maybe it's like moving faster and then I'm going to kind of plateau off, or I'm a couple years older. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but the weight gain this time around has really caught me off guard. I really wasn't expecting to gain as much as I have. And although I'm fairly confident I'll be able to, you know, get back into shape and feel confident in my body again after giving birth, I just feel like I'm stacking up all these hurdles that I'm going to have to like work even harder to do that, if you know what I mean. Making it harder on myself to reach those goals after the fact, the more weight I gain. But again, I just keep reminding myself that I'm making a human, I'm making a baby, and the weight gain is just temporary. And it's not a situation where my doctor's concerned about how much weight I've gained, because I started at a good weight. And that's the thing too, I started at the same weight that I started with at Summer. So I don't know. I don't know what my body's doing, but it's definitely gaining way more weight this time. Okay, I'm gonna move on to physical symptoms. I remember when I was pregnant with Summer, by the time I hit the second trimester, I would forget I was even pregnant. I was so comfortable, like the first trimester was behind me and I just felt completely myself again. And I'd just be doing my thing all day and then look down and have a little bump and think, oh, that's right, I'm pregnant. I just feel so great. That's not the case this time. I have much more exaggerated symptoms. It took me longer this time to get over the nausea, even though I was actually on some nausea medication this time around, which I wasn't last time. So I was even feeling nauseous into like 17, 18 weeks pregnant, whereas with Summer, it stopped completely at 15. So That wasn't super fun. Thankfully, that's gone now. Another thing I'm really struggling with is acid reflux and indigestion. And that, I have to say, it's probably the same as with summer, although maybe it's started sooner, but I'm just assuming that's because I've gained more weight and like my belly is bigger at this point than it was with her. So that's just something I've had to deal with and isn't surprising, but it's just really annoying. Another thing that is way worse this time around is my sleep. And I did get a little bit of a handle on it by diffusing lavender at night with cedarwood and peppermint. I just like that blend. That definitely has helped. But for some reason, so I started that like 3-4 weeks ago. It was doing great. And for some reason this last week, I've been sleeping terribly again. So I don't know what that's about. But between getting up to have to go to the bathroom once or twice a night and just not feeling comfortable, that might be it, because that's my next physical symptom. I'm just so sore. Like my back, my hips, my legs, they're so sore. So that could be part of it in trying to sleep. But I'm just exhausted. I'm exhausted all the time. And I'm guessing it's just from not getting great sleep at night. Back to being so sore, I'm again just assuming that that's because I'm way more active. Like I'm picking up Summer all the time. I'm chasing after her. By the end of the day, my back is screaming at me. Last night after I put Summer to bed, I just laid on the ground and tried to do some stretches, but it was just so painful, I couldn't. So all of this makes me very nervous for my third trimester, because if I'm already feeling this way, I can't imagine how my third trimester is going to be, because basically this is how I felt in my third trimester with Summer. So that makes me nervous. I also had a lot of Braxton Hicks contractions. And again, I think that that's because this time around, I'm way more active. I'm probably pushing myself physically more than I should at times. And I'm also not drinking enough water. I need to do better at it. And so yeah, I've felt that like tightening, those contractions. They're not regular or anything to be concerned about, but I do feel like it's a sign I need to take it a little bit easier and drink more water. My boobs, they're still so sore. I don't remember this with Summer. I remember them being sore in the first trimester, but then I thought that that kind of tapered off. They are still incredibly sore. There's days I won't even put a bra on because it just hurts so much, and they're huge. Sorry if that's TMI, but I'm a small chested person, and I would guess that my boobs have doubled in size. They're just so sore and swollen, and it's painful. Another thing that I've dealt with that is not different from Summer, but I wanted to bring up, is congestion. That's just something that happens to me in pregnancy, and it happens to a lot of people. Diffusing the peppermint at night with the lavender is really helpful. That has almost taken away all my congestion. I'm able to just get it all out in the morning, and then I'm pretty much good to go. Last thing I have on here is I've experienced some bad circulation, like my legs will go numb sometimes if I'm sitting too long, or like sitting on my side wrong. And I do remember that from Summer, but again, that wasn't until the third trimester. So I'm like already experiencing that. And then I'm always out of breath, which I think happened with her too. But if I'm like running up and down the stairs multiple times to do laundry, by the time I'm done, I'm just winded and gassed, which is just not good. Now let's get to the fun part. I'll quit complaining and let's talk about baby. So again, I'm 25 weeks pregnant now, and I had my first part of my anatomy scan. I have to go back because they couldn't find everything. The baby wasn't moving too much, and they couldn't get a good look at the spine, and I think the kidneys. What was different this time around, though, as opposed to Summer, is we were able to see all 4 limbs and like really see them well. With Summer, she was all tight like this, and I had to go back for my anatomy scan 3 or 4 times just so they could verify that she had a left hand. So this time around, we saw all of that. We just couldn't get a good look at the spine and the kidneys. So I'm going back in a few days to do another anatomy scan. Fun fact, well, it's really not fun. The hospital that I am supposed to deliver at, and which is also where I get my sonograms done, all the nurses are on strike right now, so I have to go to a different hospital that's further away to get the sonogram done. And my doctor thinks that by February, when I'm due, everything at this hospital should be figured out, but that's been just another roller coaster. I would hate to actually be due this month or like the last few weeks and just not know where you're going to be delivering your baby. That would be very stressful. The baby is kicking so much, and this is just like Summer. Summer was such a mover. I can hear her right now. She's supposed to be napping. She's supposed to be napping and she's like talking to her stuffed animals or yelling at them. I don't know. Summer was such a mover in my belly, and this baby is too. The only difference is this baby is kicking me way more in the crotch. Like I will have crotch kicks or punches all the time, and it catches me off guard every single time. So it must just be the position that the baby is in right now. But it's a strong baby. I've even, like, Nick has been able to see my stomach actually moving already. And I don't remember that happening until maybe 30 weeks with Summer. In terms of like a gender prediction, because we're not finding out the gender, based on the sonogram, I would have guessed it was a boy just because of how the tech was telling me to like look away so many times. But I don't know, the more I think about it, I feel like it's a girl just because of the similarities in symptoms, even though they're exaggerated. All of my symptoms are fairly the same as with Summer. They're just worse and coming earlier. And I know that one of the wives' tales is that when you're pregnant with a girl, they'll suck all the beauty and life out of you. And I definitely feel like that's the case. I just feel drained. I feel like trash a lot of days. And I know a bunch of you guys, just like my friends and family, have said, you're glowing and this and that. That's just makeup. That is the power of makeup and faking it, honestly, because there's many days where I feel absolutely no motivation and just blah. You guys can probably tell from my posting. Normally I try to post a video at least once a week, and this will be my first video in 2 weeks. I've just not really felt up to it. I do want to go get the anatomy pictures, the sonogram pictures, and show them to you. So I'll be right back and show those to you. Here is baby Drew number 2. We got some really, really great pictures, nice profile pictures. And let me show you the hand picture. It was so crazy. Well, there's a foot. If you can see that. Am I holding it right? Yeah. And then here, look at that. The sonogram tech was like in love with being able to get a picture like this, because I think most of the time babies do have their hands kind of like clenched and close to their body. And that was such a cool picture for her to get. We got such a good little profile of the head. I know there is a wives' tale too about the shape of the head. And if it's a boy or girl, like I'm pretty sure with boys, it's more squared off and like they have a bigger forehead. And with girls, it's more slanted back, but who really knows? I'm sure it's more based on just like genetics. Oh, and I'll show you my belly too. There's the bump. She's large. That is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Hopefully this felt good to hear if you're also pregnant and struggling a little bit. I'm not one of those people that like loves being pregnant. So, you know, it's a blessing. It's a miracle, but just being raw and real with you guys about what I've been experiencing. I love you all so much, and I hope that you will come back for my next video. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.